Warning. What you are about to hear goes against traditional romantic counsel expressed by friends, family, and Instagram memes and quotes. Open-mindedness is advised.
Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody. And welcome to another edition of the Senate. I am one of your hosts, Neil Hoyt, and I'm joined by your other host, Derek Marshall, my brother from another mother. What's up, everybody? Derek, what's up? You know how we do before we get into it? You know what you do? You got to plug the premier a cappella group in Barbados and the Western and the Caribbean.
Yeah, man, we G Syndicate all the time. Shout out the guys, KMR Waden, Mark, Antonio, and Brett. We went in the studio today to kind of put the finishing touches on the song. Hope to be bringing that to you guys very, very soon. We'll see how we can work that out in terms of the release date. But we're doing well, and no complaints. You can check us out. All the information at G Syndicate 6 and gsyndicate6.com, G Syndicate 6 on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and I'm sure I'm forgetting on Twitter. Right, that's the other one. So you can check us out on all those platforms. And yeah, man, what's going on with you? Tell me, what's up?
And I hear, man. I hear. Thankful I got a life, and I hear. What about you? What's up with you?
Man, I am on the plantation. Back on the plantation daily. I got my second job yesterday. So I'm feeling a little better about that, and that I got a little bit more of a measure of protection. So I'm feeling pretty good about that, and I am making it through. Abiding, as what people would tell you.
Yeah, abiding.
Yeah,
man.
Right.
So no, I ain't seen nobody so far. We ain't got no lot of numbers, but that's okay. We could obviously think, but. You wanted to talk about something tonight, Derek. You wanted to talk about, as usual, Derek, every Monday and Wednesday or on Tuesday and Thursday, he would put, Jennifer's here. Good night, Jennifer. Nice to see you. My man, Derek, would come and post something on Facebook to start the conversation. And boy, some people were saying that we in for it this week again. I told you all, since April, no more easy topics. It can be rough. Keisha, good night. No, Derek, you can let everybody know what we are planning to talk about tonight. What did you post on Facebook? And let's get into it. Let's get into
it. Let me get into it. Let me get cracking. So the question for the night: are men really intimidated by the strong, independent, sexually liberated women of today? If so, why? Conversely, do men really prefer to be with more traditional women? If so, why? And I got a couple of responses. One, the respondent said, some men are, some men aren't. That doesn't say much, so I'll give a little more detail. What I found is that some men who have internal self-value are not intimidated. Men who don't have that internal self-value are. Traditional gender roles result in men only having to compete with other men and allows them to feel valued by being the provider. Breaking traditional gender roles mean that these guys lose a source of value. Also, traditional gender roles play men in a position of power over women. Some men don't like independent women because then they actually have to be some sort of value besides money to women, which was an interesting response. Had another one. I'm pretty sure I mentioned, this is Dion. We had it on the podcast before. I'm pretty sure I mentioned in the podcast before that I've been told it was intimidating. So yes, I would say men are intimidated, and it comes from a place of not knowing how to approach a woman properly. In my opinion, it has nothing to do with traditional versus non-traditional, because in meeting me initially, you have no idea of what category I fall into. It would be silly to assume that because I can and do take care of myself, that I will not be traditional. At the end of the day, if you're intimidated by my ability to function on my own, then you aren't the man for me, because you're looking for a power trip, and that's not this ride. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was mostly ladies that weighed in, by the way. The first comment was from a gentleman. Hi, Jimmy. Good to see you in the house tonight.
Jimmy.
So somebody says, short answer, yes. I think it's a combination of reasons which have led the average, not all men, to prefer more traditional women, as you've called them. Firstly, even from the question posed and how it was constructed, you can see that men like yourself have categorized women who are not intimidating, not strong, not independent, and not sexually liberated, or any combo of those to be considered traditional women. The question is, why is this? Why this distinction? Can there not be women who have differing personas and not classified as traditional versus non-traditional? A lot of that thinking has to do with how we, both men and women, have been socialized, how we were raised, the people we have surrounding our adult life with, all of which has helped to mold our thinking on this subject. This is the short answer, but I continue. I say yes to your question as a woman who has been told that I'm intimidating and too independent and therefore don't need that I don't. At the core of some men's thinking, a woman should need them. Open a jar mentality. And if they don't open a jar mentality, and if they don't feel wanted and needed in the simplest of ways, they feel very threatened. And the first thought is, what can I offer her? Men need to step outside the box and realize that traditions can be overrated and instead focus on being a partner to the person. Focus on lifting her and helping her grow. Focus on her lifting him up and helping him grow. And that's growth in all areas of their lives. Gone are the days that men are the breadwinners in the household or the sole breadwinners, and we as women can now open our own jars. The same way we have adapted men to need to do the same, or simply stay out of her way and don't waste her time.
Mm.
Yeah, that was a lot to bite. Yeah, one answer. This is a short answer. Short answer, yes, especially when the woman is perceived to be more intelligent than the man. Yeah, good night. I see my boy Justin Clark in the house. Big
Shout out, Justin.
respects. Yeah. So yeah, it's
So,
go ahead, my brother. I can see you itching.
so, yeah,
I can
so,
let you have first, not this thing.
okay. Let's tackle this first things first. I think, it's so funny as we do this, as we continue to do this episode after episode, week after week. It is clear that we are, I don't want to say triggered, but for lack of a better term, we are triggered by certain terminologies,
Yeah,
certain words, certain
that is
sentences
clear.
and phrases, right? Now, I understand some of those perspectives were from women, and obviously we men would have a different perspective. Some men will actually do have the same perspective because, funny enough, I've heard a lot of women and men say that men are intimidated by a certain type of woman, right? Now, let me ask you this though, before we go, anywhere else. Let's talk about ourselves. Would you say that you're intimidated, or have you ever been intimidated by any woman that you've ever dated or dealt with, or anything like that?
No,
If so, why?
not in recent memory. I can't say that I have been. Um, as a matter of fact, no, I haven't. I haven't. But I don't want to show my hand. I don't want to take my hand too early in this discussion. So I'm gonna just leave it at no. I haven't been intimidated. I haven't
Right.
been
And neither
intimidated.
neither have I been intimidated by a woman. In terms of feeling that uh I am like they're I don't know how to put it, but it's like once you interact with a person and everything like that, you're on a certain level. There's no level of intimidation, right? You
Right.
may have doubts, you may have concerns, but there's like an intimidation factor where you say, "Or let me not talk to this woman because she got this or she does that," or Now, having said that, right? We know obviously we don't speak for every man, right?
No.
But I find it interesting some of the things you were saying there in terms of traditional roles, in terms of women being able to do their own, have their own intellectual, all of these things, right? And I find, and I'm sure this has happened to you too, because we've talked about this before. Tanti Cheryl is in the house. Um, we've talked about this before. Some women have been intimidated by us, right? Um, where women would say they didn't want to talk to us or we look aloof or whatever like that. No, my thing is that I understand that women now are more career oriented and more empowered, obviously, than previous decades. They have their education, they're paying their bills, they have their own, they're independent financially. I don't know if I agree with the analogy that that person was saying about a jar, they're
Yeah,
realizing that the woman don't need them for the jar.
yeah.
Mm, I think that I think what we need to do is get back to a space where men need women and women need men for the counterbalance, because we have gotten to a space now where women don't need men, and men, as you said last week when we were talking to Mali and the episode before, men are walking away, right, saying we don't need women, right? And I don't think it is a case of need; it's a case of want. And the intimidation factor comes with, as somebody was saying that they didn't like a man will be intimidated if he doesn't have his stuff together. Let us not conflate being intimidated by with a woman that is unnecessarily um, what was the word I'm looking for? Unnecessarily cantankerous, right? Or uncooperative. You see, when you say words like uncooperative, no.
Stick a pin, Neil. I want to
Mm-hmm.
put a disclaimer out there. Neil and I have not sat and prepared any notes for this show. I want to put that out there up front
We don't we don't
because,
have we don't do that.
and that's just a bit of foreshadowing coming in there, right? Carry on, Neil.
Right. So I think that a lot of men, yes, there are men that are intimidated by men, there's the women's success and everything like that, right? But there's also some women seem to conflate being intimidating a man with just being standoffish unnecessarily, right? Even from the get go, in some relationships, from the get go, from the first time you go talking, it is a competition. The man has to jump through hoops to get to the woman, right? And the man, some men would decide, you know what, I can just kind of ease off, back off, take my time, do whatever, whatever. And the woman takes that as, oh, he's intimidated by me, right? Based on certain things he does or says, right? And I want us to get to a space where we understand that not all cases, some cases out there, the man is not intimidated by you. A man simply realize your energy and you walking away and saying, "Oh, you can't handle me. He could have handled me, and this and that next." Unless he said himself, "Yo, I can't handle you. You're too much for me." You just assuming, right?
Now,
And
here's the thing, Neil.
uh,
Not to kind of cut you off cross here,
nah, go ahead, brother.
but even when he says that, you got to really ask, what does the man mean when he
Mm,
says, "Use too much for me"? Is it a case of him saying, "I just I cannot deal with this woman," or is it really him saying, "I don't want to deal with this woman"?
there you go.
Right? Um, and Justin is making the point, maybe the man has options, and
You see,
you
that's
left out
that
a
word
word
again,
there.
boy.
You left out a word, Justin. Better options,
Boy, listen.
more cooperative options.
You
Let me
know what
read
I feel we
Justin's
need?
first comment, right? Let me read
Go ahead,
Justin's
go
first
ahead,
comment.
go ahead,
It
go ahead.
says, the
Mm-hmm.
problem with this scenario is that society maintains specific niches for men while having more fluid roles for women. When a woman needs to be looked after, then the man must conform to the traditional role of provider. But the unfortunate consequence of that dynamic is that it requires a certain measure of submission, which does not bode well with modern day relationship ideology.
No, Justin Clark, you have no
He
hit
chop
something on the head. You're kind of preaching here because, it's funny, right? Because as you were talking, as you were reading that, right?
stick a
I
pin again
realized,
because I got Omar in the chat saying pretty much what I just said. Omar says even if she's too much, it doesn't mean he's intimidated.
intimidating. Show the Omar, show the
Shout
Omar.
out Omar Crawford, a regular.
Cheryl is here saying we back to submission again. Cheryl, yes, because this essentially this is the backbone of a relationship. Submission to your partner, and I don't mean women to men. I'm talking about partner to partner. There is going to be a level of submission. Both partners have to submit, and we get you want to get keep saying we back here, we back here, we back here. We're gonna beat it in on the head. Submission does not mean that the woman got on a gimp suit and whenever the man come home it's two licks
Uh-huh.
and bend over and take it, right? No, that is not what we mean by submission. No. Well, you were reading that comment about from Justin, right? I was thinking that, it's funny, right? women have gone through an evolution, a metamorphosis of sorts, where they had the traditional roles, stay at home, cook, clean, take care of children, and now they have gone into the workspace. They've gone into getting their education, their degrees, getting the money up, getting the career up, everything like that, right? And still trying to maintain the home life, the domestic life. Well, so men, so women, their role has shifted. But you know what I realized? Our role has not shifted
Correct.
because our role had no reason to shift. We, and I know people gonna go back to the patriarchal society, right? Which we can talk about in trust me, we are gonna tackle the patriarchal society, but we gotta be airtight cause that gonna be rough. That gonna be rough.
Don't take me hand. Don't
Um,
take your hand. Good
right?
night, Nika.
Good night, Nika. Good night, Nika. Jennifer laughing at me. But the point remains is that the society was made to empower men and men alone, right? And I use that term empower very loosely. The opportunities, I don't think it's empower. Men were given more opportunities than women. That's how the society was made. Now, women have fought to have this similar opportunities as men. And they have had to go through a metamorphosis while men remain the same, right? Men still doing what they need to do as men, getting the paper, getting the degrees, taking care of home, everything like that. But women have now kind of caught up in that degree. But here's the difference. The difference is I feel that women, some women, struggle to find a balance between this newfound chance of opportunity and balancing the roles that they must play in their individual relationships with people, right? No. Having said that, back to what we were talking about now, men are not intimidated by a woman that has degrees. Men are not intimidated by a woman that has her career, right? Some men. I think it comes down to a point where men may even see this as, unfortunately, some men will see it as competition. Some men will see that as matching an energy. But there are some women that have a feminine energy, but still got the paper up, still got the career up, degrees up, everything like that. But the difference is here is that women have had to put on this persona to operate in this space, whether wittingly or unwittingly. They've had to boss up, right? They've had to do everything they needed to do. And because of this, they have now gone into a space of not having their feminine energy as the tradition states. So now, because you now have your degrees, you now have your work, you're making a certain level of money or whatever, some women feel they shouldn't have to cook, they shouldn't have to clean, they should not have to submit, they should not have to take any instruction from a man. So now you have a situation where the woman is not taking instruction, the man is not taking instruction, nobody's taking instruction, so everything going haywire. Some cases. So I think that it is, again, we are not advocating that women should not seek the opportunities as men do. Seek your opportunities, get your money up, get your paper. Everybody should do that. But you have to remember that you, as a woman, have a role to play in the dynamic of man and woman. Because you have a certain feminine energy. Yes, I know some women have masculine energy and so okay. But you know by and large, women got a feminine energy and men have a masculine energy. So having said that, it is important for the women to remember that and men to remember their part in it too. Because I think the intimidation on men's part, those men that become intimidated by women are forgetting their energy and who they are as an individual and as a man. Because if you are intimidated by a woman having her degrees, having her paper up and everything like that, it speaks to insecurity within yourself. Maybe you wish to be as intelligent as her. Maybe you feel that you're stupid. Maybe you feel that you should be making more money. Maybe you should feel that you have degrees. Regardless, you should not project that intimidation onto her. You should look and see why it is that this person has you feeling off-centered and feel as if you are inferior to that person, and you should work on dealing with that within yourself. So we tackling it. There's a lot of moving parts here, and I realize again that we get bogged down on terms and sentences and phrases, and we ruminate into that as a one size fits all. And when I say women, when I say some women, everybody always looking for anecdotal argument. Everybody always looking for an escape route, a clause to get out the loop. But the fact remains is that men and women have their energy. Men who are intimidated have to work on themselves. Women need to understand that even though you have your opportunities and you have to do what you have to do for you, you still have a certain responsibility in a relationship. Every woman, every man has their responsibility to their relationship, their commitment. And the excuse cannot be, well, I got my job, I got my career, I got my money to get. Because when a man is married, he has his family, he got 2 children, and he out there getting paper, not spending time with the children, and the children are not seeing how to be a man or how to have that masculine energy around them. He is failing too. He can't use the excuse, well, I got my work, I got my bills, or whatever. That's not a valid excuse. You still have to be a father to your children. You still have to be a mate to your wife. So likewise, we don't have an excuse. It's the same way that women do not have an excuse as well. Get your paper, get your money up, but you still got to take care of yourself. You still got to take care of your children, and you still got to take care of home. Same way that the man got to take care of himself, man got to take care of children, man got to take care of home.
You started to lean towards gender roles, Neil. And that sounds
Again,
that's treacherous territory, Neil. To talk
because
about gender roles.
we can always come back to that because we have forgotten our gender roles. We are talking here. Look at what we are talking about. Men
You
are
have
intimidated by women.
You have
Exactly.
dismantled
Men,
gender roles.
men are intimidated by women, whether they are intimidated or genuinely intimidated. Meaning that if they are genuinely intimidated, something within them has been stripped. Whether they feel, whether it's their own doing or whether society has put them in that fashion. The same patriarchal society, huh? That is disenfranchising men. But not tonight.
Not
Not
tonight.
tonight. Not tonight.
Not
Not
tonight.
tonight.
Take your hand. Let me
Tonight.
read this comment by Justin. Justin said,
Okay.
I want to tackle what Neil is saying. Men needed those opportunities. Unless you had a certain measure of financial security, you were not deemed a viable husband. Conversely, women only needed to be a homemaker and be possibly able to bear children. And if you look back in history, down through the ages, a man was married, well, like, you want my daughter, bring a couple sheep, bring a goat, whatever. Show me that you could provide for my daughter, right? And we can roll with that. And the higher up you went in the social strata, it went from goats and sheep to land and property, and then it went to titles because talking monarchies and stuff like that, right? So that's where it is. So you're right. It's all Justin. It's always been a case where the man has had to bring something to the table.
Hold on.
In order to qualify as a husband. Yeah.
But the system. So you. I want to talk the system so bad, but
Don't
not
be
tonight.
talking about this system tonight. You're not talking about the system tonight. Cheryl says, I was just coming to the insecurity aspect. I think it's more than being intimidated. Natalia is in the whole shout out, Natalia.
Night, Natalia.
She said, Natalia asked if it's intimidated or their insecurities playing out. All right. Yeah, okay. Let me get on. Let me go down. Is it really an insecurity for men? Is it really?
I think for some men it is.
For some men. But when we're talking about men on a certain level, and I assume the men in the chat here are on that level or even higher, men aren't intimidated by women. Right? What I can tell you, and this is from personal experience, right? It's not that you're intimidated. You just don't have the energy. You just don't have the energy to commit to fighting with somebody or arguing with somebody over stuff that you really don't figure should be an argument, right? Or you don't want to get into a dick measuring competition with somebody that does not even have a dick. You know what I mean? So I can speak from my own personal experience when I found myself in situations where It was those domineering personalities that trying to browbeat you. You know, I stayed in one of those for way longer than I should have. And then I said at one point, you know what? I've had enough. Thanks for the memories. Peace. Deuces. Right?
And my snow in the house. Sorry. I
Oh,
see a general here.
big
Jason
up slow,
Belgrave, good night, brother.
big up
So glad
slow.
to see you. Hope everything is well.
Yeah. Conversely, about subsequent to that, when I was after getting on that situation, my radar was up, so I was spot that kind of real bombastic, domineering. I was spot that like a mile off, and I just won't come around it because I don't need that energy. And as much as we talk about strong and independent, um, I think like a lot of women hide behind that strong and independent. And this is why I said, guys, Neil and I did not compare notes, right? They think strong and independent means to be rude, obnoxious, and even boorish, right? And you don't necessarily like, men don't need that. Men don't want that energy, right? So as much as you might think, yeah, this is me being strong or whatever, sometimes a man just need you to just kind of dial it back. Dial it back. Not because he can't cope with it, he just doesn't
Just
want
saying,
to. He just doesn't want to,
man, about
right?
for that life.
And that nobody frightened for women, nobody intimidated by women. We say every week on this show, most of the men here have been raised by strong, independent women.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us have strong,
And trust
independent
me,
women.
and trust me when I tell you, I can speak for myself. None of one of them intimidate me like Margaret Hoyt when I did a little boy here.
Okay, then. You know
Straight
what I mean?
coming
I,
up, it was Margaret Hoyt. So
and I had two because it was raised by my aunt first, then it was raised by my mother when she came back to Barbados, right? So I was raised by two strong, no, shoot, they had a grandmother and another aunt there. So four strong, independent women I was raised by, right? Women that would build a cupboard. You understand? Women that would come and paint the house themselves. Them kind of
oh
women.
my God, Jesus. Oh my God, Jesus, there.
So when you come and you say that you can't be
And now
more
read the comment
intimidated
there,
than that
boy.
women. Well, here we have it from Justin. When you reach a certain point in your life, it's about merging the amount of bullshit you're willing to deal with versus your peace of mind.
Mm. But no,
And
come
that
down, keep coming down, selector.
encapsulates everything that I was saying there just now. I ain't got nothing else that come through yet.
No, I got here saying from Karen. Karen, I hope you're trolling. Um, you said that sounds like you're all looking for women to make themselves small to soothe your egos.
No, we want y'all to be nice. I know that's a word you use when you really got nothing else to say, but just be nice. Just be cool.
Karen,
Nobody asks you to shrink, right? Nobody asks you to shrink. And here's the
like,
next thing about this. Hold tight, Neil. Let me
mm.
get in a little bit of a rant, right?
Oh, no,
Because
go ahead, brother.
I hear this strong, independent talk all the time, right? But I really want to ask: are you independent, or are you Barbados independent? Are you independent, or are you Barbados independent? In that you independent, but you got Governor General, you got to borrow money from this body, you got to borrow, you got to import everything you got to eat. So are you independent, or are you Barbados independent? Are you the kind of independent that got a man and you phone save as rank and another one save as light? Are you the independent that you call it a dude because you want food you call, right? And it might not apply to the ladies in the chat before you want to start to come for me. But I know that you all know of several women who do exactly that. You're strong and independent, but your father helping you pay rent, or your father helping you pay um, your car insurance. You go by your mother and she give a plate of food and you get a little pirate session saying you're home baby. So are you independent, or are you Barbados independent?
Watch me,
That's
watch
the thing
me
we want
follow
to
on.
ask.
watch me follow on to you here now, right, brother?
Go ahead, buddy.
And if you are independent, do you really want to be independent? You independent financially, you independent emotionally, you independent in all the delays, as my man Derek said. Nobody, you need nobody to lean upon. Do you really want that?
Do you?
When the
Again,
night come,
folks, Neil and I
you
have
come
not
home,
prepared this, okay?
you want to come home, you had a hard day, you might want a foot rub, you might want somebody to cook for you or cook with, you want to watch Scandal or whatever, you want to drink some wine and laugh about saying, you may want to talk about your day, but you independent, you don't
Yeah,
need a man.
yeah. So you who I'm talking to, you dog and you cat.
And then woe is me, woe is me, I am so lonely, cause you are lonely,
Because
cause you are lonely.
you are. I, I feel like if we seem to think because of that, that men have become disposable and expendable. You know what I mean? If you look back in terms of maybe when we really go back, you know, we had a little bit of a chat about this on Saturday, um, in another discussion in which we were part of. And we talk about sexual revolution and all that stuff, right? And you got stuff like birth control came in the 60s and stuff like that, and all the sexual liberation that came with it and stuff, right? And that was part of the question yesterday as well. The sexually liberated woman, right? Because we did an episode about body count early in the juggling, and some
Yep.
people like they seem to think that body count shouldn't matter, right? And that it is that you are shallow as a man and insecure as a man and intimidated as a man if you say, you know what, you're dealing with certain numbers, right? But I'll tell you this, right? Now, let me ask the question before I say this. Let me ask the question. Would you want your daughters, ladies, to be pushing a high body count? Would you want to your would you want your daughters to be
I
known to the
would,
streets?
and I would not want my son to be known to the streets. Let's be
Would you
honest. I
want your
don't want my son
son
to.
to be
I
known
wouldn't
to
want
the
that for
streets?
my son. I would not want my son to be a person because I want my son to settle down, right? And when you out playing the field, you out in the streets, you're doing whatever you're doing or whatever, you're not settled. Let's be honest, you're not settled.
Yeah?
Um, I gotta deal with Carrie. Carrie, I appreciate your
What's Carrie
comments
saying?
and everything. Carrie is saying, that men stay playing games and she wouldn't settle for that bullshit. She also said that we're looking for 50-50. Karen, I will say this to you, right? Um, I don't know if you're trolling or not, if you're being serious or not. I don't know who men you've been dealing with, as women have told me, who women I dealing with and Derek and I are dealing with. But here's the thing, right? You made mention of us looking for 50-50 and we want women to play small or our shallow, or sorry, fragile egos, right? But here's the thing. We don't want anybody to be small. We don't want anybody to 50-50. We don't have a ticker tape or a cookie cutter woman in our mind. Just as you women don't have a cookie cutter man in your eyes, right? Because all we're hearing is that you want a man that faithful, making his own money, da 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 da, which we covered in a previous episode, which is a requirement for relationships. Here's the thing. The thing is that everybody requires what they require for feeling safe and secure within a relationship in all the ways, right? For men, we literally just don't want to have to be nagged, deal with a bombastic, rude, and mannerly woman. Straight.
Point
And I
blank.
am sure, and I am
Point
sure,
blank.
and I am sure women don't want to deal with a man that is like that as well. So to say that we want a woman to play small, I could even bring the counter argument. Do you want a man to be small to match up to your bombastic ways and women that portray the independence and that are intimidating to men? You want them to play. You don't want men to be intimidated by you, but do you want a man to match your level of intimidation?
Intimidation.
Here we go competing again. Karen, I don't know. Again, I don't know your situation. I don't know you. I appreciate your comments and your engagements. However, statements like we want men, we want women to be small, and we want 50-50, and we want certain things, no. Because uh was that she said I am dealing with I conducted interviews, sir, and let me just say the male species really falling short, fam. I am heterosexual and don't tell me about the women's. All right, fine. So you okay, we don't talk about women, talk about men straight up, right? Before you have two men that are not intimidated by women. You have two men that believe that they have a certain level of intelligence, ambition, and of a certain level of value and standard, right? The men in this chat as well are like-minded because we know the guys in this chat. So we are of similar ilk. Now, since we're dealing with men and not women, I can only say to you that maybe you should interview a wider pool of men, as I
Oh
was told weeks
dear.
ago when I was told to expand my pool. Because it is clear that the men that you have interviewed and the men that seem to be intimidated and falling short, I none of those men are in my circle. I don't roll with those men. All the men that I move with are very sure about themselves. They are very ambitious. They're very intelligent. I'm not saying they're perfect. However, these men are not intimidated in the slight.
And
So,
Neil, after that, they are still not taking the bullshit.
so carrying the same way, right? That every episode, y'all tell me things like, I need to expand my pool. I can't speak for all women. Y'all just carry me to task every time I open my mouth and make a rant. So what I would tell you, right, is that you can't, because I'm sure the men that you've interviewed can't rank 20 men. And if they rank 20 men, shoot, 100 men. Point is, I ain't on none of that 100 men. I ain't on none. None of the men I know are intimidated by women. None of the men I know, and I know a lot of men, and we talk very openly. We are not intimidated. We just ain't about the BS. You may call it games, right? But the same way you think men play games, which we do, women play games too. Because women make us jump through hoops, try to save the queen from the dragon. We gotta prove we work. We gotta tech winner as winner is. So the same way you could come from that angle of saying that men are about games and men want women to small up themselves and stuff. We are here to tell you that while some men are, and maybe those men that you talk to or whatever, that is us, and we are out here. I literally cannot think of a man in any circle that I roll in that is intimidated by a woman. I like legit can't think of any. So okay, you don't, and I agree. You don't deal with women, but men are here telling you what it is from our perspective. So if you don't deal with women and you only deal with men, but yet you have empirical evidence that you've taught her a handful of men, but yet you're on a program where two men are telling you in our circles that that's not the case, I don't know. You either try to fit a narrative or you don't want to see what we are saying here. We men don't want women to play small. We do not want men. There are women in this chat. There are women in this chat that know me and know me well. Know that I don't get intimidated by women, and know that I don't want women around me that play small. Derek knows some women in this chat that are the same thing. So two men are here telling you that we don't want women to play small. We don't want a cookie cutter woman. We just want women to meet us halfway, though. Legit. Just maybe halfway. Maybe halfway. But also, I said it almost sounds like we're looking for menstrual salt. Sweetheart, even if we almost or we not whatever, I'm telling you that's not the case. The case is that we are two very we are not perfect men. We still have our challenges. But the mere fact that we are on this program, we've created a space and we are talking to y'all is because we know people, we know men. Here's what, Karen. If you are interested in talking to some of the men that we've talked about, if you want to have that data for yourself, I could put you in contact with the men that we talk about, and you can interview them. And these men are not about BS. We are not about games. We're very straightforward men. You understand? We're not perfect men, but by and large, we are straightforward men. So if you want to understand our perspective, I implore you to think outside the box. You say you interviewed some men and then when they're ready, come let me show you some men that understand what's going on. Because we're here and we tired, quite frankly, of always having to. It feels like we have to appease to women. It feels like we literally have to small up ourselves to appease you all. Because if we push a sexual energy, we being um, we
Toxic,
being toxic.
misogynist.
If we don't speak and don't be vulnerable, we being toxic. If we tell you our expectations or our demands in the bedroom or in the house or anything like that, we being misogynistic. Yet women can go out there. Yes, women, not some. Women could get on social media and place their laundry list of what they want. All the memes, all the quotes. A mama's this, a mama's that, a mama that, this, that, and next, the third, right? A mama's this, a mama's that, a mama's this, a mama's that. You want a man that's 6'5" with abs, with 240 pounds, penis down to his knees, right? And bank account going $1 million. Great with kids.
This is all right, dude.
But when we say, shoot, we can't even say that we want woman. We can't even say that we want woman playing card. Then all of a sudden, all we want is woman
Yeah, that cute.
that cute. So let us understand that women, an argument can be made that we small up ourselves to fit your egos, and literally we tired of it because at the end of the day, women carry a certain energy, and you all women carry a certain energy, and you all have conformed and contorted and everything like that to fit a narrative where you all must be superwoman. And women who are supermen now have to make sure what we say and what we do and how we move and everything like that. And no, I'm not talking about the men that are disgusting, that rape and are abusive and anything like that. We literally have to watch how we speak sexually. We know of a friend that the first conversation with a woman was, "How big is your dick?" Because I don't deal with small dicky men. Imagine if a man were to go to a woman the first time and say, "You suck dick? I hope you suck dick," because I don't deal with no women that don't suck dick. So I understand that some of y'all don't understand how women move and how women talk. And Karen says she ain't dealing with women, so let's talk about men. The point is that society has this same patriarchal society has it that such men have to watch how they move, say, and talk about certain things when it comes to relationship and women. But women are allowed to say and do whatever they like when it comes to what they expect from a man. So let's go.
Cheryl is here saying, I tell women already, all I want is someone that's committed to me, good sex, and be able to kill spiders and reach things high up on the shelves.
All we want is a woman that is nice, open-minded in the bedroom, are willing to meet us halfway in the domestication of certain things and let a man lead if that is what the relationship calls for. That's all we ask. That a woman, well, let me say something, that a woman follows our lead. That's all we want to.
That would be triggering as well, Nia. That's it. That's his word cooperative. Yeah. I can see a certain bluntness that I hope in one of the men y'all claiming is of caliber. Okay, that's clearly there's a personal thing going on there.
That's what I'm saying, right, Karen?
I think Cheryl is looking to submit, but that submission like you got other things going on. Not like some 50 shades of gray going on there.
Yeah, Santi. Karen, this is what I would tell you, right? And I am not, and I mean this legitimately. I promise you, I mean this in the best way possible. I'm gonna ask you a series of questions. You can answer, you cannot answer, but think about this for me. Have you've been in relationships and been hurt by a man before? I'm asking yes or no. You don't have to answer. If yes, have you sought therapy and healing from that hurt that you gotten from a man or a man? You don't have to answer yes or no. I'm just asking. And I'm not talking about in the unhealthy ways of seeking therapy and healing. I'm talking about in positive ways of dealing with the trauma that you've had from a significant relationship or relationships. Because Granted, I understand that you're upset. I understand you have had a bias. You may have a mental block, and that's fine. We all do. I have gone through that. There has gone through that. Fair enough. But let us not get conflated in terms like submission. You don't want to submit, fine. Would you like to follow a man's lead? Because last week we talked about marriage, and women, all the women would rather a man propose.
That's a
And that is
traditional role,
following
Neil. That's a
that is a
traditional role.
following a lead. So okay, she's saying that she's been single for 11 years. That means that you have had no interpersonal relationship for 11 years. Why have you had an interpersonal relationship for 11 years? And please don't say that you choose to. Don't let us get onto this. I chose to be single. Why haven't you? Why have you decided to be single for 11 years?
Carrying on book a session.
And don't laugh there. Don't laugh there because
No,
you're
I
trying to
mean, you
get. I
got
try
you are carrying on book a session.
right.
Um,
I am willing to submit to a man deserving of the role to lead. Good. But what are your standards in terms of him being deserving? Because I understand that and I agree with you. But you have to understand that what is making him deserving? What is your list? You refuse to settle but carry. Okay. You see, so
Hold
far
tight,
we've
Neil.
had
Hold tight,
so
Neil. Hold tight, Neil. Let me just deal with some of this stuff too. We got Naked saying, if you're leading me down a rabbit hole, I must go. You know, the girl, the ladies don't want to submit, right? Um, to that, I will say, um, I think you got to do a little bit more vetting in terms of who you select. Um, because part of lead, and that's the thing with the submission talk, right? Whenever we talk about submission, people tend to get a little miffed, a little upset, or whatever. Um, Submission does not mean that the man is going to come home and tell you do X, do Y, do Z. It's not that. But part of leadership is delegation as well.
mm,
Part of leadership is knowing when to say, well, look, babes, use the body that you handle this here better than me. It make more sense for you to deal with it. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. But for the time we talk about, or we even bring up the S word, like, like you're almost afraid to call it because it seems like it is such a nasty word to use. People get all in the feelings, people get triggered. Then you get Nick asking the question, if you're leading me down a rabbit hole, I must go. Nah, you're not saying that. But part of the leadership, again, part of leadership is taking counsel to make an informed decision with somebody that you provide counsel and you don't make, and he disregards your counsel and puts you in a worse spot than where you were before. Well, I would suggest you got to get over that because clearly the person that you've chosen is not equipped to lead you. He might be equipped to lead somebody else, but not you, right? Karen is saying one of the things.
hold on. No, you keep reading because
Yeah,
I read ahead, so I know what's coming. So I
yeah,
just
Karen
kind of
is saying
geared
one
up.
of the things I learned is men show their friends one face and their women a totally different face. And that's expected because it's two totally different people. It's a totally different energy.
You
I didn't gonna
expect
talk
you
to
as
Neil like how we can talk to a woman.
I mean
I am not saying that I can be disingenuous, but the energy is going to be totally different. You know what I mean? Because the things I
and
want with a woman, I
go
don't
ahead.
want with Neil. You know what I mean?
No, hell no.
Yeah.
And Karen, let's be honest. Some men, because you always get on me when I generalize, some men are disingenuous and play the games. Some men don't. You have to ask yourself, why is the man playing the games? Is he something wrong with him? If something is wrong with him, then whose fault is it that? Because it's like this, right? We have a government in place. We had the DLP in place for 10 years, right? People voted for DLP and felt that they were betrayed, for lack of a better term, because some of the policies and certain things that were done um, didn't go into place. Essentially, they dated, voted, vetted, and decided to let in a party that betrayed them and was disingenuous, right? So what did we do? We elected somebody else. We decided to submit to DLP, and they, for lack of a better term, shafted us. So then we now submit to the BLP. And if they shaft us, they've gone through the door too. But does that stop us from voting? Does it make sense to stop voting? It is all about understanding, right? That some men, shoot, let's go all men, right? Because I see somehow I feel as though we feel that men and women are human, but men ain't human, right? Meaning that women don't do certain things that men do too, right? We all have anecdotal evidence of where something went awry. Somebody was disingenuous. We were all done wrong. All of we here, I assume, are over 35. Most of us. That means all of us have been through the ringer. Yeah? We've had it hard. We have heartbreaks. We've been in situations that have messed us up. Right? The point is that whether you chose to be single for the 11 years or whether you had options, right? You still have to look at the fact that you choose who you want to be with, men and women. If you choose a man, you think he's deserving of following of you submitting to him and following him, and he ends up carrying you down a rabbit hole, you leave that and you find another one. People, and this is why a lot of people are so burnt out on relationships today. Because all of us are messed up. All of us got our baggage. All of us got our challenges. All of us playing into the machine that is the media, social media, whatever media, right? And we all going in this thing of having a false sense of what man should do or what woman should do. So now we ain't talking to the one another. We acting as though we believe this is how it should go, and we losing sight of where we are going in relationships. Now, the sad reality is men and women need each other, and men and women do better in companionships, in relationships. Nobody wants to be alone. Nobody wants to be out here saying, I don't need. So the sooner that we get to a position of understanding all these terms like submission, intimidation, retete, right? What a man is, what a woman is, and all of this here, right? We need to cut through the BS because this is the real BS. We know what we want, whether we believe it or not, and we all afraid to take that step because we've been hurt. And I am here to tell you, as a man that has been hurt several times, I quite literally told Derek before this podcast, see me, I know, boy. I know there's a relationship thing. But it's not that I ain't gonna sit here and tell you I don't need a woman. I ain't gonna sit here and tell you that I don't want a woman. But like you all, I have been through it. And there's a level of gamesmanship, there's a level of BS that you go through with good women, bad women, everything to get to where you want. I am not there yet. So you know what? We could either sit here and ruminate in our disgust and contempt, or we could try to get to the bottom of it so that we could all be happy at 237 with a partner. So I am here to say that y'all may get hung up on terms, submission. Y'all may get hung up on terms like intimidation. You may talk to all the men you talk to are men that are scumbags. Right? The point is that if you feel that the best course of action for you is not to have a man, don't see you don't need a man. See you don't want a man. And you'd rather be on than try your hand to be happier with a man. That's all it comes down to, a gamble. Again, we all are messed up, men and women. All of us have toxic behaviors based on the society that we grew up in, the same patriarchal society that ruined men just like how it holding back the women that you all claim. Right? So with that said, we need to get off our high horse and realize that we really want to be married and live happily ever after, and the music swell, and we come home and we get a rub foot, and we got a man that cook with me and clean with me and joke and laugh. We got me little inside jokes, and we could share looks and everything be cool. We could laugh and think. I've had that too with women. When you just look at the woman in a situation until you all know exactly what you're thinking. Everybody want that. So saying that we almost want women to play small to our egos, saying things like we're intimidated, saying things like you don't want to submit, saying things like this facade of being a strong, independent woman, and men not being able to say, yo, I would like some sex. No. How dare he talk to me like that? Who's he to talk to me like that? You all have expectation, we got expectation too. So we all need to cut the fuckery and realize that we either have conversations like this and be open-minded, or we stay in our corners and keep ruminating in the disgust that we living in right now.
Yeah, you're preaching, my brother. Um, Justice said, don't forget the pressures when it comes to sex. Can't be no 1 minute man. Can't have anything short and stubby. And you gotta be
Fed.
doing. Yeah, you gotta be a porn star. You gotta be a porn star. Um, yeah, Jennifer says she's not settling. Jason
Um,
asks, what does Karen bring to the table to have a deserving man? Omar says, I find a lot of the comments are disingenuous and contrary to the conversation that the guys are trying to have. Probably. Cheryl, but Neil single doesn't mean she hasn't had any interpersonal contact. I think based on her comments that she has, based on her comments she has. But my question would be: is she giving of herself fully, or is there a 10 foot wall? Yeah, Cheryl, I was good. I was thinking the same thing. She's been single for 11 years. That does not mean that there wasn't some action going down. And
Listen, if hold on a minute, if after 11 years, right, and y'all could tell me, y'all could call me and tell me if you're talking BS or not. Derek, you could tell me, the chat could tell me. If you've been single for 11 years and you've been dating people here and there and everywhere in that 11 years, and you say, you know what, man, ain't shit, I ain't dealing with that, man, ain't whatever, right? One has to ask a couple of questions here, right? How many men you dated? Was that a significant sample size of men to say all men full of BS and are not worthy? Or could it be that it is you that is the problem? Or can it be your choosing process?
oh my God,
Because I refuse to believe that shoot, I could tell you in the last 10 years I dated women and I'm still single and it ain't work out. You know what I started doing recently? I have in my therapy sessions within the last year or so. I started to reflect and say the problem gonna be me and how I think and how I process things and how I go about doing certain things. The problem is me. I ain't got no shame to say that the problem is me and look into that. But a lot of us get into this thing as shoot, shoot, shoot. No, we got to reflect and say, I am single. I always get into situations where the man going this way and that way and the BS and whatever. Is it me? Am I choosing process? Or is it all men are scumbags? And because we are so varied, I refuse to believe it's all of we. So the time I expand my dating pool.
yeah. Sometimes you gotta look and say, what is it that I am putting out there? You know, and also the next thing is, um, 11 years is a long time. You gotta ask, and I sorry to make it seem like if it is a therapy session for Karen, but um, that seems to be the situation we're dealing with. And you got to ask, if after 11 years, what are you looking for now? What do you expect now? Because 11 years outside of a relationship is a long time. Your relationship skills and muscles have atrophied. Um, so it'd be interesting to see what you are like or would be like in a relationship right now. But yeah, she says she brings the table. So yeah, it's an interesting response. It'd be good to know what is on that table, or hopefully it's not a broken down table.
Okay.
Natalia says, Derek, you and I had that submission talk a few months back. Yes, we did. Submission to your mate in a relationship isn't hard if they give you something to submit to. Someone who
Mm-hmm.
is able to take the lead. As has been said more than once in this forum, it's important to know where each other's strengths lie and who will lead and when. And that's why I always say here, yeah, fellas, up your game, right? up your game, make yourself the best version of yourself as you could be, and that way is able to look at you and see certain things in you and say, you know what, I could follow that. I could submit, sub under, support the mission. You know what I mean? So yeah, just get yourself in order, guys, and then you're able to kind of go there and put yourself in the market for somebody to come to you that is of a particular standing. Ladies, yeah, I think you touched on it earlier. You just got kind of like, you know, make some better choices. And they say that not to, because sure, we've all made bad decisions, but you got to make better choices and you got to own the mistakes that you've made. I understand that when you make those mistakes, there's a price that you're going to pay in terms of sexual market value, because you are not going to have the same value at 35 that you had at 25, ladies. That's just what it is. That's just a fact. So when you come at 35 and you step into men and you still got 25-year-old attitude like when you was hot at 25, eh, you know, you ain't gonna get the same results because everything is right and tight like it was when you was 25. So you gotta kind of make a couple concessions on some things, because the reality is now you are not 25 anymore. You're not 25. You probably got a child. You probably got a child or two, and now you come into the marketplace, because it is a marketplace. You are competing with other people. You come to the market, but why should a man look at you at, let me say, 35, 40 with a bad attitude, and because you are the table or whatever it is, ladies say, no, you don't want to submit. You come, children, you know, children got four fathers, just a little joke. But yeah, you got two children with four fathers, you don't want to submit. Why should a guy take on you with that? Man, you can just take somebody that's 30, they ain't got the children, or 25, they ain't got the children. You know what I mean? So you got to kind of make some adjustments, especially as you get older, in what you're looking for in terms of a relationship, in terms of a partner, if it is that you want to have those things. If you don't want to have those things, well, do you, boo-boo. Invite somebody across, because the reality is you will always find somebody that will text and sex. Yeah, that's just how men are. I'll share a analogy that I got from a thing I was listening to, and the guy said ejaculation. And ladies, I think it's important that you kind of get what he's saying here, right? We can get a little graphic, it might get a little gross, but understand what the premise of what we're saying here, right? Ejaculation for men is like having to go to the bathroom, right? If you want to use the bathroom as a man, I remember a couple of years ago when Sandals first opened their resort in Dover. You went into the resort, you go to use the bathroom, and their towels, they're folded. You come, you wash your hand, you go on a nice towel, use it, walk straight in the little waste basket, everything cool. You know what I mean? All is well. So if you have to go to the bathroom, you love to go there every day, because like I ain't gonna worry about who was in here before me, well, necessarily, but everything clean, cool. But then there are other, sometimes you got to go real bad, and the only place you could find is somebody gas station where they got the key for the, you got to go and ask for the key from the bathroom from the cashier inside, and they give you a whole ring with the key on, because they want nobody for the, yeah, the key for the whole ring, because they want nobody carry the key. Then when paroles going in the bathroom, you bust the door, and it's like a lucky dip if you hold up the toilet seat. You don't know what you're gonna find in there, right? And but guess what? You got to go, so you're gonna go in there, right? And that is kind of what it is for men. So, ladies, you might be able to find somebody to come across, and as I was saying, beat the brakes off you and roll out. They go your back a little bit and roll out. But I think as we get older, everybody starts to look for a little bit of companionship and stuff like that. A couple of weeks ago, when we had Dion on the show, Dion made the comment that, strong and independent does not mean alone. And I don't think a lot of ladies signed up for that, right? Strong and independent does not mean alone. So when you get, you say you want to be strong and independent, why does that have to come along with being alone? Why does it generally seem to come with being alone? What is your independence? Is your strength keeping you single? That's what you got to ask. And it's not a case of you saying, oh, the men can't handle me. It's probably not men that can't handle you. They just don't want to. Right? So you got to really look into it. Jennifer is saying she doesn't need marriage, but live with is cool. Let me just make sure I haven't passed too much stuff. Yeah, Fergie, I think women need to understand that even though we have friends, we don't recommend some of them, but we also don't want to be caught blocking either or any of those things. Correct. Fergie, yes, was just right. Dion's trying to catch up. Justin, the podcast has the purpose to cut through the echo chamber that many of us bounce around our opinions incorrect. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get to disabuse each other some of the ideas that we have that are just a little inaccurate, because we got a lot of stuff out there that floating around that we kind of trying to dismantle, because it's all right to talk about you strong and independent. Yeah, you don't need the man and blah, blah, blah. And then a couple days after you put that up, you post, oh, wait, was the blueprint for a relationship? Why you can't get the man? It's so lonely out here in these streets, outside cold. You gotta post something, a picture, some meme that you find from Pinterest or something like that, and you go to post it, hashtag couple goals, because what you are what? All alone by her long sunshine. You don't want that. You don't want that. You know what I mean? So nobody's telling you to small up yourself, shrink, none of them things. But because again, we the men here, men in general, have not been raised that way with those kinds of women. Men in general have been raised by strong, independent women. And guess what? Here, let me really drop a nugget of truth here now. Those strong, independent women that raised us are what, Neil? Who are they home with? They are what? They are all alone by her themselves. Yeah. Exactly. Those strong, independent women home by themselves too. You know what I mean? Sure. And I watch it. I got a mother and two aunts, all single, well into their 70s, single, and nobody wants to go like that. It's alright to talk about, yeah, you got your job and all that, and you making you paper, and you ain't needing a man, blah blah blah.
That sounds good. That sounds good for the gram. That sounds
real good until you's the favorite aunt, because you ain't got no children of your own, so people want you to come to the party and bring gifts to the other little children.
And you got put on a front and a fake, like, nah, boy, raising other people's children. I don't want none of these children myself.
Yeah, you know, you ain't got a graduation to get to of your own. And I remember I watched Acrimony. I love the movie Acrimony. Well, a lot of people don't, but I love the movie Acrimony, right? Give it a watch. And in the movie Acrimony, Taraji Henson's character made the point that, I won't give out too much of it, but one of the things she said is there was no graduation, no little children, nothing to mark the passing of the years. She and that man had been together for 18 years or something like that, 12 years, something like that. It was over there, and there was nothing to mark the passing of the years. Let me get together, people. Let me get together. All this talk, well, nobody can handle you, and nah, that making the sense.
No.
Find somebody to handle you.
No. So Karen, I feel like this is what I would say, Karen. No, you made a comment I don't know. You're right. I don't know you. And you don't know us as well. So, you're saying that we almost want women to small up or whatever for egos. The point is this, right? You said something that I really want to touch on. You said something that you don't want, that a man must be deserving, that you're not going to lower your standards or settle. And I'm speaking here from experience as a man, as a human being who also decided not to settle, right? You have to be careful what your standard is. You have to be careful what you don't want to settle for, because we have this thing in our head, right? That our partner must be up here. Person gotta have certain virtues, certain financial stability, certain things that they must have. But we have to be very careful to make sure that there is such a person that can check all of those boxes that we want. The person must be this, the person must be that, the person must be the next, the third, the fourth, the fifth. And we also have to understand that if we do find that person is fallible, that person is human. Meaning that at any point, person could lose a job, person could be going through something personally that may make them unemotionally available. You understand? Life happens. So we have to be careful that even if we do find these people, or we check most of the boxes, we don't just run at the first sign of adversity. You understand? Because we have become a society that is very quick and easy to just peace out, right? Because one of the boxes get the check mark get fade out. And I understand we all have standards, but we gotta be very, very, very careful of the standard that we're looking for. Because these standards that we're looking for may not be realistic. And I am not talking about something like, women to say things like, I'm meant to, well, yeah, I want a woman that is faithful. I want a man that is faithful, right? There got a lot of men out there that are faithful and monogamous, but don't got the money up. So you are asking someone, and Jason made reference to it, right? Because the same way a man has to bring something to the table and he has to have a certain standard, you have to bring and match that standard to that a man has. So if a man chooses you, or you choose a man, and you all go down the road, that means that both of you all have chosen each other, and you all both meet each other's standard. So if you all meet each other's standard, then understand that that's not happily ever after. It's job work.
uh, People seem to have a problem with my analogy, but I really hope that it gets across what it is I was trying to say, right, guys? Um, as a matter of fact, I'll put it to you this way, right? In the past week, because people generally know I like junk, so people are saying me all kind of strange things, right? So I got a video of a man having sex with some kind of like water container. Then I had another video of a man having sex with a chicken, right? So like a dead chicken
Yo,
with the
yo,
feathers plug
yo,
over it. And
yo,
a couple
what's
weeks
wrong
ago,
with you?
not me though, people send me this stuff. And I also got a video of a man having sex with a horse, right? And I say it all out to say, right? Generally speaking, and I've said this before, men don't care, right? A lot of because of sick men out there, they'll put it anywhere, right? But you know, yeah, we don't care like that. But that's just the analogy to let y'all know men don't really care. Keith, welcome. It's good to see you. Keith is saying alone and lonely are two different things. They are. They are. Um, and she also said, somebody made a comment, right? The passing of the years don't have to be marked by those specific things. That is true. But it would be nice, particularly, let me not front, people. Let me not front, right? The okay, yeah, let's not front. Let me be real. There are certain things that are more in keeping, or more, or females gravitate to more, that are more important for want of a better term, to females than to men, right? And men could be cool. For instance, for example, men can go to the bathroom by themselves. They don't need a group. Women tend to go to the bathroom in groups. Something as basic as that, right? Will highlight the difference between like men and women, right? Not saying
But
that women need to do that, but it happens. Women be like, I get you bathroom, you come in, and it's cool, everybody belong, ain't a big thing. Imagine a man at the table, I get you bathroom, when they come in, and 3 or 4 men get, yeah, we come in.
but hold on. But let's be fair, Derek. Let's be fair because
But hold on, hold on. I'm saying all that to say, the things like children, graduations from the children, recording your own children. Yeah, men get that stuff too. We feel our vibe, but I said it before. I'll say it again. Men have more opportunities, a longer shelf life to get those things. Because if a man walk up at 60, probably could, right? A woman, not so much, right? Unless you can do the whole freezing of the eggs and that kind of stuff, right? So those things, and let me not pretend like if all women are not built for nurturing children and stuff like that. Shoot, look down your chest. That's a good indication that most of the nurturing coming from you, right? That's just what it is. So I really let me not be disingenuous. All right, I assume like I get on like if certain things don't matter, right? Let me not get on like if certain things don't matter. Um,
I literally, Jason has said in the chat, he was wondering what if Karen is deserving of what she deserves because of what she brings, what does she bring to the table?
uh,
And Karen said, I bring the table, sir.
Karen has said the conversations for offline, so let's leave it offline, right?
Yeah.
Say that,
Right.
but yeah, that's
Um.
so
Anyhow, we
looking
got
for a
off
triangle.
topic a lot. Yeah,
Yeah,
we got off topic a lot. I think back to the original topic about intimidation, and for those of us who joined us late, we did kind of cover it, and we were, I guess, pretty succinct in it, and it spilled off into other things. But yeah, I mean, in terms of intimidation, from our perspective, we are not intimidated. We just ain't dealing with certain strong traits of a woman. In terms of her, you know, portraying, as Derek would say, being disingenuous about who she is and what she wants at her core. Um, this is by no means us saying that we want women to be small or to kind of change up themselves, but we still, in the end, don't want a woman that is contentious. We don't want women. We obviously want women to challenge us, but it can't be an everyday thing. It can't be, you wake up and you're like, oh dear, this woman hollering at me. What she hollering at me for? No, you know what I mean? Like we get that women have to be strong, and women have to put on their armor to operate in this world, right? But when you with your partner, you should not have to deal with that. And we are not necessarily. There are men that are intimidated, and we covered that. The men that are intimidated by women, that speaks to an insecurity within self. Whether it is meaning that you should, educate yourself, get your money up, get your career going, or anything like that. That is where I see intimidation comes from. But generally speaking, I I I would not say that most men are intimidated by women. Men that know what they're about and who they are secure in certain things within themselves. I don't think that they're necessarily um, intimidated by women. They just may not want to put up with certain personality traits or behaviors.
yeah. So the question then is, do men prefer to be with more traditional women? Because
No,
and he also talked about the sexually liberated women of today. Um, like I
I
see we
first
got some people. My friend Cheryl always talks about, she wants somebody to give she some good sex and kill things. Um, I still think like I feel like that's a gender role, but that's another story. Um, yeah, so I I don't want to go into that. But when we talk about the sexually liberated woman, you know,
I mean,
what are the implications for that? What are the implications for the sexually imitated, sexually liberated woman?
saying that
Dion makes a
women
comment.
who,
Your guys' take on intimidation comes down to cantankerous women, but there are plenty of women who get this comment and aren't that. I saw on Facebook someone comment saying that women hold it as a badge, and I don't agree. It actually comes across as an insult. But that's for you, Dion. But there are a lot of women who who are proud of the fact that nobody can handle them, right? They can ask why then do men leave homemakers for these younger carefree women, citing that the woman is whatever. Um,
before you continue, I want to touch on Dion's comment again, right? Uh, y- so there are some women that hold that badge that are not cantankerous. Again, as we just said, it comes down to that insecurity within the mind, right? If you are not cantankerous, you have, like Dion, I know you're a very well accomplished young woman. You're very intelligent. You have your own. You do what you can and what you want, everything like that. Um, you do not intimidate me because I believe that I have a certain level of intelligence and success and everything like that. And I believe that we can hold space and dominion within certain spaces. If a man says to you or says to you that he is intimidated by you, that means that there's an insecurity or deficiency within himself he needs to check. So, um, it's, I'm not saying it's 100% men saying that women are cantankerous and don't want to deal. There are some men out there that do have their insecurities within themselves and need to kind of check and boss up themselves and do whatever. No, Tanika, why do men leave homemakers for those younger, carefree women, citing that the woman is? Um, I can only speak for my perspective here, because I can see a man doing that because that homemaker has decided to shut up herself sexually. Again, a lot of women, a lot of relationships, a lot of people will start out having sex in the car, racy messages, certain types of behavior in the bedroom and stuff like that. But then, as time goes on, you either stop with that sort of behavior or you start having sex all together. And it feels as if the man wants sex. It is asking for favor, is asking for money, right? I'm not saying, again, I want to be clear in saying that this does not mean that excuses a man leaving an established marriage and relationship for a carefree woman that is whatever. I am saying that, there are some cases, and I believe most cases, where the homemaker, she, for whatever reason, has gotten into a space where she does not feel the need to fulfill, like sex is not that important to her, whereas sex don't ever stop being important to men. She doesn't, if the man say he wants some, he gotta wait till the stars align. He gotta wait till the moment is right and the woman is in a good mood, right? Like there are so many conversations we have had with men where they've been together for long, and when it was at the beginning, the man sending this and sending that and saying, this, that, and next, whereas the woman just shut off. The woman right now in a space where, the man trying to cuddle up, I too hot. Let me go. You know, it's your birthday and you're trying to get a little sex, and the woman like, nah, not tonight. Quick, so when they had sex in 6 months.
I know it's a birthday. Shout out to Nadia. She comes in every now and again. Nadia's birthday today. Happy birthday to Nadia.
Well, Nadia, this is.
We know her as Nadia Ward from school. Shout out
Oh,
Nadia.
oh, 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 oh,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, okay,
My
okay, okay.
sister. Shout her out. Big up to
Yeah,
Nadia on
man.
her birthday. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yes, Keitha says, well, to Nika's point, Nika says, why do men leave home, these homemakers for these young carefree women? Um, I think your answer there, Nika, is wrapped up in the carefree part. Um, a lot of times, like for instance, if you check dating profiles, you'd be interested, it'd be fascinating to see how many dating profiles say, I'm not here to play any games, I ain't here to have no fun, that kind of thing. I'm mainly to have a little fun, you know. So when you approach a relationship of It is all work, no play. That is why a man would say, you know what, let me look for something that's a little less stressful or less intense. And let me just have a little fun. And that is what you would get. Um, that's just so how men operate, I guess. Keith
Um,
is saying, I'm so lost as to how being strong and independent is being linked to contention, contentious. It very often is. And a lot of time, because the line is can be so thin, because the line can be so thin, a lot of women in particular do not recognize when they've crossed over that line and have become contentious and cantankerous, right? And there's a reason that the scripture says, shoot, better to live on the corner of a roof than to live in a mansion with a contentious woman. You know what I mean? Um, and you ask the question, so because you're strong and independent, it means a man cannot handle you. A lot of women think that. A lot of women believe that. If you think I telling lies, you know how many of the
yeah.
gentlemen are still in the chat. Gentlemen, drop some ones in the chat if I tell him the truth, right? But yeah, a lot of women think that. And again,
See me
again,
as I am.
again, you see all the possible flaws and all. I ain't doing X for the man. I am who I am. Take me as I am. I've seen these posts from a lot of women, right? A lot of women. So I really, again, I don't want y'all guys to be disingenuous because you know full well that you've seen them too. That these women saying, oh, I don't need a man. I'm strong and independent. I got this for myself. I got that for myself. And they're encouraging other women to be the same way and to promote the same thing and say the same things. And that's fine. But then when you put that up there as a billboard, understand that you are going to end up strong and independent. And we ain't talking Barbados independent. We mean independent because you're going to do everything for yourself, right? Because when you advertise that you don't need a man, no man ain't coming around.
Nope.
You understand? When you let me
I see Nika made some
yeah.
point here about 4 children. I don't know if you can read that.
Yeah, imagine if you have 4 children, a house, etc., and the man believes in traditional gender roles, both partners work.
No, I want to touch on that. No,
Uh,
imagine, Nika, that you do have 4 children. Your same scenario, right? And you haven't had sex in 6 months since we hypothesizing. You see, because you got 4 children, a house, commitments, both work, everything like that, right? There is still certain expectation, well, not expectations, sorry, but there are certain things that still need to be focused on. Because where the children come from, why the house come about the place, the relationship is the genesis for all of it. You got 4 children because of the relationship. You got a house because of the relationship. You both work to fund your life as a family. And cooking a dinner here and there and going out once a month and thing, but coming home and not having any sex. What was that? Was you have roommates? So we are not. To me, I understand there are a lot of challenges, but let us not use these as excuses because if you have a certain thing that is needed to be met as an individual or as a woman, you need your partner to do or fulfill certain things. You just want him to rub your feet. It could be as simple as you want him to rub your feet after a hard day at work. Children be damned. House be damned. Work be damned. Just rub my feet and you man stop doing that. And man, rub your feet in 6 months. Like we gotta stop making excuses because we knew what we were signing up for. We got married, we got in a relationship, we got a mortgage, we got children. We knew what was going to come. Granted, we may not understand the severity of it and the extent, but we have to start normalizing. Sorry, not the excuses don't matter. The traditional roles in this case, the point is, y'all have created a lifestyle around the genesis of your relationship. You're gonna want a relationship too. So to me, having 4 children, a house, mortgage, work, responsibility, and this and that, and feeling as though you are a jerk for wanting sex from your wife. Nah, traditional roles are not. The point is that When we started out, we was in the back seat of my car having sex. 20 years later, we got 4 children, a mortgage, and both we working in high profile jobs. I ain't saying we got to have sex in the back seat of the car, but Kadir, this once a month thing. And the thing is, some women say this too. Oh, I can't believe those women. I will have sex 3 and 4 times a week, this and that next, regardless of what happened or whatever. That sounds good. That sounds sweet. Until the child come, until the promotion come, until the bills start to pile up. Then it gone on to once a month, then it gone on to once every 3 months, then it years pass, and whenever it was intimate. Trust me, I know. So we got to stop. See, some women look at sex as trivial, as not that important in the grand schemes. In the grand scheme, men see sex as an expression of love and emotion. Some men can't communicate love other than in the bedroom. Not saying it's right. I'm saying, therefore, right? It may not be important to you, but you have a partner though, and you can have sex with him at least once a week though. Bare minimum. I'm not once a week is pushing it, but you know what? Kadir, you got 4 children with him, a house, to want to work in, want to provide, want to be married for a while, want to be living together for a while. You mean you can't have sex with him once a month? I mean once a week. And likewise, man, likewise, because men are guilty of this too. The same way you used to cook for her and rub her feet and place slow jams and dance, and used to have her lay down on your lap and talk about her day. You can do that once a week too. And this is the point. The point is we have gotten away from, we get all these things and then use it as an excuse to say, well, how you expect me to take care of these 4 children and pay these bills and go to work? And you know he's work long hours, and then when they come home, he's retired, and you know my boss, and you know this, and you know that. I got to. Then you shouldn't have gone to the 4 children. You shouldn't have merged lives. You shouldn't have done all of that if the relationship is going to suffer. If the foundation is the relationship for this lifestyle, and y'all stop neglecting the relationship, then what's the sense? What are you doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? We're not going out. We're not having sex. We ain't doing nothing. What are we doing? You just said that we got things. We got children. Just to say we got children. To fill up our life with stuff. Nah, I refuse. I reject. I reject that.
We get back in here. Karen is they who get offended by her use of standard English. I reasonably feel that they better than them. I had that experience once too, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Apparently they talk funny.
Hold on. I remember I can call out somebody in this chat. No, Jennifer, I don't know if you remember one time I was Jennifer and I used to work together. I was composing an email and I used the word, I can't remember the word, but it was like 4 syllables. And she like, so why you say that instead of just saying, like say it was let's say it was the commencement of that I typed. She was like, what you just say the start date? And I was like, so you shaming me because I got a vocabulary? I get beat in school for grammar. So, and that's not a knock at Cheryl. I'm just saying that people have said that about me a lot, you know, or you know enough big words and this and that. And that's why you say that instead of saying this. And man, shaming me because I learned it.
I'm missing this. Let me go back up because I think I'm missing this comment. Oh, right, they can't tank us women. Yeah, men just dealing with that. I wanted to see where they were responding to. Many times we don't make right dating phase. Blair, welcome. Good to see you in the house again, Blair. Blair says, if you're so strong and independent, why do you need me or want me? Keitha, not saying you're lame, but I find out the women you are all discussing in here, I cannot relate to. Yeah, but here's the thing, Keitha. I'm certain you know some of these women, or you've seen the stuff that they post and stuff like that. Shoot, tell them come here, let me have man. Yeah, or shoot, even carry back the message. We don't mind.
And also to touch, hold on, just to touch on that point really quickly. A lot of women come into this space saying that they like, it seems that we just absurd and we making up not that y'all think that we making up things, but because some of the things that we say are so outrageous to y'all because y'all don't know of these women, it's because these women aren't interacting with you on the same level as men and coming back to you with a certain persona and a level, right? But trust me when I tell you, bring all your female friends. And men, bring all your male friends. Because I want everybody. I don't want some. I don't want this echo chamber.
But Justin here, so no, you had touched on this point earlier, Neil. Justin says it's really easy to say someone can't handle you than to face the possibility that someone don't want you. And you touched about that on that earlier when you talked
Or
about
that you's the problem, or that you are the problem.
when you said that why are you single and look at it. Yeah. Some yes, he can say some don't need no man, they may want one though. And that's the thing, right? We are social beings and we generally tend to want to be around somebody. Nobody don't like to constantly go home and push the door and it's just them and the four walls, you know what I mean?
Watch
So
it.
but I think we've been told or we've been sold a bill of goods that go there, be strong, independent. You don't need a man, and a lot of times when we say you don't need a man, we think in terms of finances only. There's so much more that is brought to a relationship than just finances, and I think we gotta move past the just thinking about money because we automatically think I make my own money. I don't need a man. Yeah, but you might need something like direction for children. How about that? Instruction. My daughter responds differently to me than she does to her mother,
Fact on
right?
fact on fact.
Um, and that's just how it goes. You
That's
know what I
just
mean? So, and there's one thing, and we know it coming up. There's one thing you hear your mother can beat you. When you hear your father coming, that's a different story. Well, for
wait,
those of you, for those of us who were raised with fathers, right? So we
wait,
need to
wait.
kind
No. Go finish your
yeah,
thought. I
yeah,
just want to
we,
add.
yeah, we need to kind of to recognize that it's more than the finances. It's more than the stuff we can purchase that the men bring to relationships and situations. And start thinking or believing that men are expendable and disposable. Right? I think that is the main part that we got to get to. We got to
All right.
recognize men are not disposable.
And to add to your point, Derek, to this need versus want, and we don't need a man or whatever, right? Everybody knows the fact that it is healthier touch, especially a loving touch, is healthier than not having it. Intimate conversation is more stimulating and healthy for the brain, personality, and physical than not having it. So as much as you say you don't need a man, right? And you going home, you pour your glass of wine, and you're drinking it with your $2 all by your lonesome self, right? Do you know that if you did have that partner, if you did have that partner touching you, and it don't have to be sexual, just stroking the back of your head, stroking the back of your feet or whatever, that in the long run will give you more peace of mind and resolve stress. So let me not fair to say be the disingenuine thing of it, right? But we are happier in relationships. We want a companion. We want to be touched. We want to be reassured through touch and through speech. We want to have interpersonal conversations, and not with our male friends and not with our female friends. So we could keep pretending that we don't need. If you want that earlier and you want stress to bone up and keep you wrap up, you ain't doing therapy, you ain't having sex, you ain't going to companionship. Well, daddy on it.
Nika said, no excuses. But how can this woman in reality be all that when she doesn't get the help needed to make her role easier? And to this, no. This is where they come back and they say, why the monogamy thing? Why the marriage thing? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's always funny that we had to kind of like dig at
uh,
it,
of
right?
course,
Because
of
if
course.
you push for monogamy, ladies, right? Because most of you in here, more often than not, when you break up with a man, it's for infidelity. You could go a man doing everything else, but if you horn you, that 2% as Captain is talking about, that 2% because you horn you vex and everything break up and done, right? He could be doing everything else, but because he put horn in you, you vex, you hurt, you done, right? If you know you can't fulfill all the sexual needs, well, you can force a man out to come and stick up with just you. You know what I mean? I watched an interview of Shahrazad Ali, right? Only
Oh my
yesterday.
goodness. Shout out
And
NTR.
so mediocre tutorials and reviews.
Uh,
Interviewed Shahrazad Ali, and she made an interesting point. I found it hilarious. And she said, ladies, you have two choices when it comes to a man. You could be the woman or you could be the other woman, right? I found that hilarious. I found it particularly interesting. But if you're going to push on it, I don't know if anybody here is familiar with Zavala Kadeen, I think is their name. I've seen like three different episodes, three different clips of them talking. They're husband and wife, and they're talking, and generally he's complaining about sex and about the fact that he's not getting enough. They have three children, three boys, right? And in one of the clips, he was saying, "Well, why did you ask me about, getting married to you and stuff like that if you knew that it was going to be a burden to try to fulfill his sexual needs?" And her thought was she was not. Her thinking was she was not prepared for marriage, or nobody prepared her for the fact that she would have to fulfill all of those sexual needs, right? So she got into it and she was unaware of what's happening, right? So it's really interesting because on the one hand, you got the lady saying the men can't handle them, but then you got men saying, "Sure, the women clearly ain't handling either." So and we don't kind
I
of get
dare, hold
into
on.
the shit about it.
I dare a man to come out and tell a woman that they can't handle him. I dare you.
I don't know how that would end, but sure. Cheryl here for the way. Cheryl says, at least give the man a little heads.
Oh,
Love language just comes into play here, though, there, says Nika. But that's just a little bit of food for thought. Karen is back in the outside here and says, this is true, though. After doing all that, your energy is drained and you'd hardly be able to function sexually. Yeah, I agree, Dion. Cheryl is overboard. Keith is asking if she get the four children on her own. She probably didn't. That's a solid guess. Man comes in a few nights a week and takes over some of the chores, some of these chores, etc. Will meet a wife who is more than willing to do backflips in the bedroom. I'm gonna leave that where it is. I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna go.
no.
Let me go on. Let me go on.
Go ahead.
Keith says, I ain't got one and I just be popped down when the days come. Cannot imagine four and without help. Are they working too? Murder. Yeah, it's a bit much. It's a bit much. Cheryl trying to bring some balance says it works both ways. Who says he doesn't in terms of preparing a meal and stuff like that? But the reality is sex usually suffers and it's usually the women who cuts it off.
Women control access to sex.
Yeah. Um, the men trying to teamwork makes the dream work, says Jason. Nobody's advocating that the man not help, says Omar. Um, yeah. They can say, I'm just saying no sex in 6 months in my hypothetical situation is a reality for many women, just too tired to function, but want to return to that woman of before, but frustrated,
Then,
etc.
then, hold
Lisa,
on. Nika, you gotta find a way, Nika. This is gonna sound rough, right? But you know what? You know what? You know what? This is the life we signed up for. We were in a relationship and we had a foundation laid out. We have now merged our lives and we have created a lifestyle, whether we planned it or not, where we are stretched too thin. So
yeah,
you have to find a way because you're committed. So I get you tired. I get that it's too much. I get it. Then you have to be open to either changing something within yourself and your dynamic within the relationship in terms of getting babysitters and dedicating once a week to having that intimacy, or look at both of all reducing the work that you all do, or the stress that you place on your work. Seek therapy, sex therapy, do something. But to me, it is played out to just throw your hands in the air and say, "This is the life we have. I want to have sex, but it is what it is." Nah, nah. You have to find a way. And I see Nika. Nika said a comment here so about wait. I can't find it there. Nika was saying Derek. so he can go and have fun, and I still home with the 4 children. Suppose she decides not to be monogamous also. Now, here's my thing, right? You keep with this 4 children scenario. This is an extreme scenario. Nobody we know has 4 children. And if we do know somebody that have 1 children, it's literally 1 or 2 couples. Let's be honest. So that is a hypothetical, that is an extreme. But to your point, right? If if you have 4 children, bills, etc., and you always too tired, and the man trying to engage you or re-engage you in that space, and you just saying about it,
But
then
hold
it's
on,
not
Neil.
about the
Hold on.
man.
Hold on, Neil. I want you to look at this argument that Nick is presenting. So you can go and have fun, and I still have only 4 children. Suppose she decides not to be monogamous also. Is that okay? No, it will not be okay. And I'll tell you why in this particular situation. Because you ain't have the energy to have sex with me. How you can have energy to go off have sex with somebody else?
Wait. Oh,
So
bumbo clap.
yeah, let me drop it. I'd be, I'd be real upset to think that you can have sex with me because of the 4 children. I gone up doing my thing, and now all of a sudden, you got energy, you could go, and you could find energy to do your thing.
Listen,
I'd be very upset.
I agree
You're
with
doing
Derek,
it, but the premise of the thing.
let's be honest, right? The point is that if you have 4 children and you have this life, there is a level of commitment you have with this person, meaning that the commitment is so deep it ain't easy to walk away from. So then both parties have to be open to rekindling that marriage, rekindling that relationship. So I'm not saying that the man gonna go there and have his fun. I ain't saying the woman gonna go there and have his fun, her fun. But you know what? It can be this is what life is. So we gotta wait until the last child going to college before we can have sex. Like, you see, everybody want, well, most people want marriage and most people want that happily ever after, right? But when they don't know that happily ever after is job work. Whether you plan 4 children, 2 children, 1 children, when the child come, you have a relationship that's the foundation. And both parties are responsible for maintaining that foundation.
Yeah,
So find a way,
the children can't come without the relationship.
find a
Well,
way,
oh,
find a way. You and the man find a way, find a way. But the divorce is a cop out. The other women and other men is a cop out. Find a way. I am not saying that if you do mess up and go with somebody else or whatever, fine. Mistakes happen, right? But let us be clear. There is a commitment. And if you are committed to that person, you have to find a way.
I,
Find a way.
my boy Blair, most women they try to hear her being Shahrazad Ali, and it's sad because she is one woman who, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that I can say who gets it. Fergie says that this is the problem here. Rather than recognizing the relationship is breaking down and see what can be done to fix it, people be studying equality. Well, let me call it more vengeance or revenge than equality. Um, Karen says this is the dynamic that I see in a lot of relationships today. The women grow resentful that they aren't given the opportunity to live a little too. Um, okay, I won't touch that right now. Dion, no, I don't think she has to change. They, the couple, need to have a conversation. Resentment comes from when feelings get bottled up.
No,
We
no,
talk about it
hold
all
on a
the time,
minute.
about the sexy conversations. They
Hold
need
on
to
a
be had.
minute. I I agree with the unsexy conversation, but again, we getting bogged down in terms. The woman may have to change, the man may have to change, they both may have to change, but a change has to be made. If you have changed your life to have children, marriage, commitment, responsibility, and everything like that, and you have lost sight of your relationship, then a change has to be made. It has to be made within you, whether it is you, whether it's your partner, or both of you. But let us not, I'm not saying that, shoot, we ain't having sex, so the woman got to change. God, land. No, but it needs a level of commitment. You are committed to this relationship. Therefore, if a change is needed in you, him, or both of you, then that is what is needed because y'all are committed to the relationship. When is listed to them vows, and you see, you think a lot of us, right, is getting these committed relationships. and then wait to hear the votes to say, oh, well, it's only from this day that we say till death do us part, and sickness and the health, and better or worse. When we've been living together for the last 3 years, and we've been committed to each other for the last 3 years, some of us got children before we get married, and there has been a level of commitment. But when we easily walk away, it's like, oh, well, I did say those words. Hell no. Because when I committed to you, I as a man, that you had my child, so therefore, I am taking care of you, sickness and the health. I taking you for better or for worse. I don't need a priest. I don't need nothing like that. My son's mother to this day, she's sick. I will take care of her. Ain't nothing. Because that's my commitment to her. I signed that when she told me she wanted to have my child. When she said she wanted that level of commitment, she wanted to marry and everything like that. Granted, the plan ain't go, but she got my child though, and I got a level of love and commitment to her that maybe we are not on that level anymore. But I will make sure she is straight. She need me, I will be there. Shoot, sometimes she may not even need me. She want me, I can be there because that is my commitment. So let me start using these terminologies and oh, we are married, so we didn't say the vote. Nah, we committed.
I think to be, oh boy, people getting a little bit chat getting sexy, Uh, Omar says, I didn't say it tonight, it said to communicate. It also comes down to the choosing. If the man was, oh Lord have mercy, talk the things, Omar. If the man wasn't helpful before you got into that position, then you shouldn't expect that now. Let me say that again. If the
Go ahead.
man wasn't helpful before you got into that position, then you shouldn't expect that now. And I say that every week on this show. If you know a man is a dud, and I can use the word dud for Claire, even though she might not be here tonight, right? If you know a man is a dud, getting children, shoot, getting into a relationship, he needs some guts, ain't gonna change you. He can just be a dud with children that he won't support, right? He can just be with a dud with a woman that he ain't checking. If you knew that, hey, you talk to this man, you got 3 or 4 women, you put some horns in you, hey, sure, we all know stories of women that lay down next to a man, the man get up one morning, left from then the morning, and went and married somebody else the next day, or the same day. Yeah,
I hear that recent, and I was like,
yeah, you know what I mean? But yeah, we heard
roughnecks.
that story, right? Um, and here's the thing: prior to that particular lady, the her intended husband had to get an abortion for somebody else, but she still married the man. Now we all know that could only end one way. If you start wrong, you can't end right.
I ain't right.
You know what I mean? So I think, as Omar says, if it ain't right at the beginning, if he wasn't helpful before, don't expect you to help at the back end. It just ain't happening.
But hold
Uh,
on a minute. Also, too, right there, is that whether we want to believe it or not, right? When we are into an interpersonal relationship on a certain level, right? We just show each other who we are. It's just if we see the signs or not. So if a person starts off and the person is committed, faithful, everything, right? And the person makes a mistake, but generally if this person, okay, the man went out and cheat or whatever, but this is not the man I know. He made a mistake. I've not known this man to be a philanderer. Then you gotta look at the positives as well, though. Likewise, as my man Derek said, if you land on that stud dud and you realize certain things in panning out, this man inconsiderate, this man ain't really checking, this man's getting on some things and he funny ways or whatever, right? But when it's still there, when the children come, you feel the man be attentive. If the man ain't attentive to you and they ain't checking for you, you think the children can change the man?
it's not gonna happen.
So don't let me nope. So don't let me get into this thing of oh this man changed or he didn't show me his true colors. Is if you see it or not.
But here's the thing, Neil. This is the next part they want to add on to that. If you know you're going with a dad and you put yourself in that bad situation, do not come back now and be vexed with the world.
We
Oh, talk about these men ain't shit. Nah, nah. Yeah. Let me
you're
borrow a little bit from my guy, right? We borrow a little bit from my guy. You wouldn't buy a car like that, right? You
mm,
will go and you will make sure that your car running properly, the ESCs work, the brakes work and everything good. Don't get vexed when you go down. Shoot, you look at classifieds. You find somebody selling a car for $2,000, and you say, "Mala, there's all the money I got, so I roll it with that." So you get your $2,000, and you got a beat up front here that got two gears. I remember back in the day, I had an old car that had two gears, two, right? And I had to roll down the window. I could, sure, I can roll down the window from my side. I had to roll down all the other windows to get some rain. Yeah, it had two gears, low and two. That's it. You ain't going to drive. You'll get reverse, but it's certainly doing that
not
in
Drake.
drive. You know what I mean? Net AC. That was our struggle. Like it was on early in maybe late teens, going in my early 20s. That is what I was pushing, right? One day parked it, I came back, I found smoke on the hood. When it bust the hood, the thing was literally on fire, right? It was literally on fire. So, but guess what? That was the car I had. You know what I mean? That was my car. That was the car I chose. Well, I didn't really choose it. I got it. It was a hand-me-down thing, right? But you know, everybody first got to be like a hand-me-down. So it was old. But that was the car I had. And I had to roll with that. I couldn't be complaining all this car and shit. But they actually bought me one car now. But that's different. I made the choice. I made the choice. And I was comfortable with the choice I made. As opposed to just going out, picking up any old thing because they can wait to gather up the money and do it right or whatever. And then when they break it down, they vex. So if you go and you choose poorly, don't be vexed with the world when you know, get poor results.
And
You know?
and to your analogy, Derek, the same car analogy, right? We out here buying cars, right? Then when the car breakdown once, sorry, not breakdown, sorry. We buying new cars and something on the car fails once. We ready to sell the car. Whereas some of us got the car and car breaking down every week, we still driving it. Just think about it for a minute, you know. A man could be unfaithful once. Once. According to women, that is a deal breaker, right? The man has shown he's
But
attentive,
why? But
he's
why,
kind.
Neil? Why, Neil? You got to ask yourself why. Because again, we come back to men have become. We have been made to believe that men are disposable, men are expendable. Because was the thing? I don't need a man. Or to quote Taylor Perry, I can do bad all by
All
myself.
by myself.
Right? I think we gotta recognize. I guess we end up all alone by her long self. So we gotta appreciate that there's more to it. We gotta recognize
It's in
that
black and white, man.
men do have value, men do add value, and to say that you don't need a man and that men are intimidated by you and stuff like that is that's inaccurate. A lot of times, men aren't intimidated. They just the juice ain't worth the squeeze. So what deal with you that argumentative and contentious and all that stuff? But they could just get somebody else that ain't about that life, you know. So there's so much to kind of sift through and recognize. But I really want to disabuse everybody that notion that men are intimidated by these strong, independent women. They aren't. They find them funny. I can tell you that from personal experience. The men find these strong, independent women that then turn around and talk about how lonely they are. Men find you hilarious. Men
Facts.
find you hilarious. They laugh. Sorry to out somebody, but none of the men in here. But sorry to out the men. Men find you funny because you recognize that the thirst trap that you're throwing out. That's exactly what it is.
Let me tell you, and
A
the
thirst
quarantine
trap.
showing up,
And the
and the quarantine
quarantine
show up
kind of
enough for one.
exposed someone, so yeah, I let me just read this last comment before we start to wrap up. Neil Blair says, Neil, I understand what you're saying about commitment to your child's mother, but the situation can get complicated when you're involved with another woman. Agreed. I'm sure she will understand you dropping everything for your son, but you may have to use some nuance with baby moms, especially if she still has feelings. Some women like to take a yard if you give them an inch. I agree with that. Um,
Well, my situation, first things first, my situation is it is not what we planned. Obviously, we had a different plan, but our situation between my son's mother and myself is the best I can have in this situation. If you understand what I'm saying, we are friends. I have a level of love for her and commitment to her, and I believe she has the same level of love and commitment to me. It's just that we're not on that level, right? It is always about my son. It is always making sure that he is the best. Shoot, even yesterday we went to the beach. The three of us went to the beach because we understand that it's important for our son to see a family unit. Why should he have to pay and see only him going to the beach with daddy or only going to the beach with mommy because mommy and daddy couldn't get their stuff together. So I understand not everybody has that. I know I probably am the anecdote here. But yeah, man.
Yeah, Dion said I don't think that's why it's become a deal breaker. I think society has conditioned both sexes that way. Most men ain't staying with the woman who cheat either. Um,
But 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 I
yeah,
agree with that, Dion. I would say that as I've gotten older, I don't necessarily look at the act. I look at the reason for the act. So if me and you in a relationship, Dion, and I come to find out you cheat on me, and we thought that out, we moved through that, and then I find out you cheat on me with somebody else, or you go back to the man before, and we done with that, and then I find out that you cheat with me again, or you go back, then the problem ain't me or in our relationship. The problem is that you. Maybe I am not providing what you want, or you're not being honest with yourself with what you want. But as I've gotten older, I've come to realize that um, you know, if somebody cheats, as I say, we thought me and my son's mother we used to talk about good times horn, where everything going well in the relationship, all the boxes being checked and the relationship being maintained, but you just had the opportunity and you take it. That is a party foul. However, if the relationship has issues, we both know it has issues, and we try talking it out, but you still go and step out, then we got asked why.
yeah. Dion said we ain't talking about people who have grown or have a certain level of emotional maturity. Yeah,
Oh well,
things happen.
yeah.
Keith says maybe she just has a problem that is a wash of cheating. Indeed, it is.
Uh,
Yeah, Paul, it's been great. We talked today. We had a spirited discussion.
yeah.
Um,
Karen, I still love you. You know, I still want you to come back. I hope that our little exchange didn't deter you because it those conversations are necessary to get to the root of things, even as
yes,
contentious as they may get.
I think we had a spirited discussion. Shout out Kevin C. Lady Host, no get here, cutting it
Cutting,
late, but
cutting, cutting.
we good to see. We happy to see you, man. So yeah, that's it for tonight, guys. On Thursday, we can do a little bit of a review of an article I saw on Reddit. I, I, I wasn't going to do it, but the story kind of hits home
This
for me on a personal level as well.
this thing that you
Uh,
sent to me today or
I think
yesterday.
it did. So we can take a read through of that and just review it. Should be an interesting thing. So we can just have a bit of that review. It's something that hits close to home for me. So guys, as always, like, share, follow, subscribe, all those things. Um, be the best version of you for you, and we will see you guys on Thursday. Bring a friend next time.
Peace and love, everybody.